up, y'all? This is Liquid Lola, and this episode of the Liquid Lowdown is all about the Justice League. The first part, there will be no spoilers. I'll just talk about my general, view of the movie, some things that you guys may know about already, just from the trailers or whatever, common knowledge stuff. I'm not gonna spoil the movie. I hate spoilers. Once we get to the spoiler part of this review, believe me, you will know. You will know. I will flash something on the screen. There'll be this whole big thing. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So you will know. So let me tell you what my expectations were for the film. I really tried hard. I tried really, really hard, guys, not to have any expectations for this film. My expectations were very low. Those of you who have heard me talk about Man of Steel, those of you who have heard me talk about Batman versus Superman, you know my thoughts on these DC movies, and personally, I think they have fallen short. However, saying that, I loved Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman was really, really good. It wasn't a home run, but it was really, really good. So I had slight hopes, I guess I would say, slight hopes for the movie, but at the same time, I really wanted to go in with very low expectations, so I wouldn't be disappointed. I felt like if I didn't have any expectations, then there's nowhere to go but up. Kinda. The opening of the film I thought was really strong. I loved the opening. I was like, oh my gosh, this might be the superhero movie that I wanted. This might be the Justice League movie that I wanted, that I've always wanted to see from the opening sequence. It went a bit downhill for me. After that, I must admit, it went a little downhill for me. I haven't been a fan of what Zack Snyder has done with the DC movies. I think that he messed up Superman. I think that he messed up that Batman versus Superman movie. So I have my issues with Zack Snyder. I hear that Joss Whedon is coming in to save the day. I love Joss Whedon. I'm a huge Joss Whedon fangirl. I'm like, oh my gosh, Joss Whedon is gonna come in and he's gonna make this movie be the superhero movie that we all wanted, that we all hoped for. So that's when my hope started, creeping up a little bit, because I knew that Joss was involved in it. Knowing that they had reshoots and stuff, there was stuff all over social media about the reshoots, and he had called everyone back in and they were doing all this stuff. I'm like, wow, okay, this is crazy that this is happening, but maybe we're gonna get the superhero movie that we want. In my opinion, we didn't. As far as the characters in the film, there were some standouts. I don't want to get too spoilerish on anything because I'm not spoiling anything yet. I still love Wonder Woman. I still love Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. She is a very strong part of the film, and I really enjoy her portrayal. Overall, I think that this movie had a bit of a lighter tone in it, which I liked. I actually liked it. There were some jokes. Some of them fell flat, but there were jokes. There was some levity in this film, which was greatly missing in the other, in the previous films that we've seen from Zack Snyder. So those things I enjoyed. That there were lighthearted moments. But now back to what really kind of bothers me about these films. I feel that ultimately DC is playing catch up. And I still feel like they're playing catch up. They don't have to. Marvel Studios has been cultivating their universe for 17 years or something crazy, some ridiculous number of years, right? DC doesn't have to compete with that. And I think that that's where, the suits get involved with these films, the studio heads get involved with these films, and that's why these movies are not as good, in my opinion. I'm not trying to get into a Marvel versus DC. I want these DC movies to be good. I want them to be the movies that we as fans deserve, frankly. There's a wealth of material from the comics. There's a wealth of material from the Justice League cartoons. One of my favorite cartoons of all time, it was the Justice League cartoon. Done well. Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go. don't even get me started on Teen Titans Go. But Teen Titans cartoon, these are things that have been done well. They've had these good story arcs that have been done well. They've done some of the TV shows, like Flash and Arrow. They've done these shows well. So for me, it's glaringly obvious when the movies fall flat, when they fall short of really what we all want. And I think that there are like too many cooks in the kitchen, maybe. Like I said, I think that the suits are too involved in the film. Apparently there was a mandate for Justice League had to be under 2 hours. They didn't want a long film. I'm not a huge fan of super long films. I think that if you're able to write a story well, and if you're able to direct a story well, you don't have to have a movie over 2 hours. You don't. But the problem comes when you're trying to introduce all these characters and make them make sense and make the story make sense. You have to have some good writers on that, and you have to have a cohesive plan from the beginning that this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to tell that story. And I feel that in this iteration of the Justice League, whether it's because Zack Snyder had to step out, whether it was because Joss Whedon came in and there were reshoots, the vision of the movie seemed a bit disjointed at times for me. Here we have all of these characters that we have to introduce and we have to make them work together, right? I actually liked The Flash. And I was surprised because I really enjoyed Grant Gustin's Flash on the TV show. So I was surprised I liked Ezra Miller's Flash as much as I did. I really liked him. I feel that a lot of his scenes, some of his scenes were spoiled in the trailers. But I really liked his portrayal of the Flash. I like this version of the Flash that they're showing in this film. There's another character I really liked. I'll tell you about that later. And I do still like Ben Affleck's Batman, which is weird because I was totally against Ben Affleck's Batman. I was totally against it in the beginning. But once I saw him, I'm like, okay, all right, okay, Ben, I see you, Ben. Like, we can do this. I was most looking forward to Aquaman, just because, hello, it's Jason Momoa, So I was really looking forward to him in the film. I felt like Aquaman could have been fleshed out more. He could have been fleshed out more. There were some things in Jason Momoa's portrayal, and it was just the way it was written. It was the way it was written that I didn't care for. Cyborg was distracting for me because of the CGI. And I know Cyborg's story. I thought they did a decent job, with his character development. But I was just so distracted every time he was on screen because of the CGI. I saw the initial trailer when he was first introduced, and and I'm like, okay, he looks a little weird, but they have a lot of time before the movie comes out, so they're gonna polish that up. They're gonna fix that. They're gonna fix that. That's just a little something that they put on there, just to get us this trailer. I don't have a problem with CGI. I really don't. I don't have a problem with CGI. In order to tell these superhero movie stories, you have to have CGI. You have to have these huge battles, and you have to have, people flying and people, villains and, and things happening and all this. You have to have this in order to be able to tell these stories. But guys, come on. This is 2017. There is no reason for your CGI to be so obvious. So obvious. So that was distracting for me as well. These are some of the most beloved characters, and maybe that's part of the problem. We all grew up on Wonder Woman, on Batman, on Superman. I just think that the fans deserve better. I think the fans deserve better, and I think that the studio needs to get it together. It is worth seeing. Let me say this. The movie is definitely worth seeing in the theater. You should go see it. It's friggin' Justice League. So go see the movie. Go see the movie. I gave it a 6.5. I've seen online where some people loved it. Some people were like, oh my God, this is like the best movie ever. It's not the best movie ever. I don't care what anybody says. It's not the best movie ever, but it is the Justice League and it's on the big screen. And this is the first time we've seen all of these characters live action, like for real, for real. So go see the movie. This movie is not trash. It's a fun movie. It just could have been done much better than it was. So now I'm about to get into the spoilers. So I'm gonna give you a little time to get out of here, okay? Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you're still here, you're gonna hear some stuff you might not wanna hear. So if you have not seen the movie yet, I suggest you press pause. First, give my review a like, please. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. But then you can go ahead and go and come back later after you've seen the movie and watch the rest of my review if you're interested, because I am about to go into spoilers. So here we go. The beginning of the movie I thought was fantastic. That has to be Joss Whedon, right? Like that had to be a Joss Whedon opening. I felt like I was watching a comic book. Like I really felt like I was watching a comic book. The introduction of the Flash was cool. It was, you know, it was spoiled by the trailers, but I still thought it was cool. It was really fun seeing Ezra Miller's Flash. One thing that I could not stand throughout the movie, like it was cool seeing the parademons, like that was cool. Like that was another thing that I was like, oh wow, this is really neat. Like this is, like I feel like I'm watching like one of the old Justice League cartoons or something come alive. That was cool. But what the hell was up with Steppenwolf's face? Like what was up with his face? And this is part of the problem with the CGI that I had. Like we've seen prosthetics used in films that we like love and TV shows even. We've seen prosthetics used along with CGI. We've seen them used very well. I'm very curious as to why they didn't do that. There's no reason to have like a fully CGI character to me. It seems a bit lazy. And if he wasn't all CGI in the face, then something happened. They really did something wrong when it came to post-production and using the CGI and trying to get it all to work together. It was distracting to me. The same thing with Cyborg. I don't know when they had like prosthetics. Like, come on guys. We had 7 of 9, like 20 some years ago? Like, why can't you do that? Why does it have to be all CGI? They do it with Iron Man all the time, where they're incorporating, you know, his face, his body, his skin, along with CGI suit. Like, okay, so they bring Superman back, right? They bring Superman back. The way they brought Superman back was a bit annoying. And I feel like that was a Joss Whedon reshoot. And that was something that he brought in. I might be completely wrong. I'm very curious to see what was there before and what was changed. Because the way I feel about this movie, I feel like Zack Snyder had no Superman in this movie at all until the very end. That's what I feel. Remember, we saw that scene in the trailer a long time ago where Alfred is like, oh, I was wondering when you would show up. I kind of feel like that was just Superman coming in and saving the day at the end. At the end of Batman versus Superman, we all see the dirt rising up, you know, off of Superman's grave. The way they brought him back, digging up his body, like that was like, you know, they tried to make a joke about it and stuff, but I'm like, dude, like, why are y'all doing this? And then you're using that stupid ship again. You're using the ship and the thing and like it. So that was a bit annoying to me. That was a bit annoying. But then it was badass to have Superman like out of his mind because he's like zombie Superman or whatever. Like, you know, Flash made the joke Pet Cemetery, which was, that was funny. That was a funny joke. Some of the jokes fell flat, were a bit forced, but that one was funny as hell to me. And to see Superman, you know, being evil, you know, evil Superman, you know, and fighting against the Justice League and being not in his right mind, that was cool. However, it was distracting as hell, the mustache situation. Now, for those of you who don't know, when Joss Whedon brought Henry Cavill back in to do the reshoots, Henry Cavill had this mustache. He's doing this other movie or film or TV show, I don't know exactly what it is, but whatever the hell it is, he had a mustache. So, you know, we all saw these images out on social media with, you know, Henry Cavill in the Superman suit with a stash. We all saw it. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. we're gonna CGI that mustache off. We're gonna spend millions of dollars to CGI his mustache off. Fine. It's great in theory, but once we see the execution of that, once we see Henry Cavill's face, that's not his face, and if something's wrong with his mouth, and it's like, what is that? Like, is he all CGI? Is he really even there? Like, what is happening? What is happening? And sadly, I feel like almost most of the scenes, until we get to the end, I feel like most of those scenes that we see him in, like the tender moments, the jokey moments, the fun moments of Superman, which is the Superman that we all deserve, by the way. We need a lighter Superman. We need Superman who is happy to be Superman. You know, so I actually enjoyed Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman in this film because I liked the way he was written. But the stash, guys, the mustache, what the hell? Guys, why? Why did we have to see that like that? So that was distracting as hell. And I don't know if they bit off more than they can chew when they were like, oh, don't worry about it, we'll fix it in post. Or if they just skimped on the time or they ran out of time. I don't know. That was weird. That was really weird. That was tough to watch. But then you kind of have to be like, okay, his face is going to be screwed up the whole movie. Just deal with it. Fine. Fine. And then Aquaman. Aquaman was like the broest of the bros. Like I really would have liked to have seen more character development with him. That was definitely missing, even though Jason Momoa is so fun to look at. So I'm really looking forward to his standalone film. I'm really looking forward to that. But they didn't show enough of Atlantis. They didn't show enough of him and his story and why he is where he is at the point where he would just join up with the Justice League without any real motivation other than, oh, your favorite bar, is in trouble. The people in this little community that you fish for and you bring them food, they're going to die. So you're going to want to join up with the Justice League. I was like, meh, that motivation I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. But whatevs. You're here. You're hot. I can dig it. Wonder Woman, she still is like a highlight for me. She's still a highlight. She is still a highlight. And yes, I am very biased. But if Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman was trash, it would have ruined the movie for me. If I had hated Wonder Woman movie, she would have been ruined. Wonder Woman would have been ruined. So I really like her portrayal of Wonder Woman. They show how strong she is. They show her attitude and her demeanor is very well done, I think. And one other thing that really bothered me in the movie, and this is going to be trivial to some of you guys, but okay, Superman dies, right? Superman dies, Clark Kent dies. How the hell did Bruce Wayne allow Superman's mama's house to go into foreclosure? Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? Like, Bruce Wayne, why didn't you take care of that? That's crazy. It's insane. You let her house get foreclosed on. You let the Kent farm get foreclosed on. And you were all about Martha. Our mother's names were Martha. Well, you should have protected Martha's house. Bruce, you should have protected Martha's house. That was ridiculous to me. You have to wait for Superman to be reborn before you go and take care of his mama's house? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. So I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that. Steppenwolf as a villain, it turned into a big CGI fest, as it always is. They showed like the big fight and with the mother boxes and how it all happened, and all that was a bit convoluted to me. They showed some Green Lanterns and that, and so I guess that was fun, a fun little Easter egg thing. But the fight was just so all over the place for me that it was just kind of like, okay, there was a big fight. There's some things that can't be put together. If they're put together, that means doom for all of us. Okay, fine, we get it. It's very cliche. Fine, we get it. Just give us the story. So overall, I felt like the whole movie was I felt that they were under time constraints and that they were told that they had to keep it under 2 hours. And so it ended up being a situation that's like, okay, we have to bring in the Flash. How are we bringing in the Flash? Okay, let's bring in the Flash. Okay, we have to bring in Cyborg. Okay, here's Cyborg. Yeah, of course Wonder Woman's still here, so she's here. And let's bring in Aquaman. Let's bring Superman back. Like, you know, it was just like, we have to get these points done. Like, it was almost like they were checking things off. Like, check, 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 check. It was almost like that for me. And so I felt that. I really wanted to have a more clear feel. Like, the heart of the movie for me just wasn't there. I wanted to have a feel of why it was so dire. I wanted to have a feel of why they all really need to come together and work together. And that again comes back to the storytelling. It comes back to the writing and making us care about these characters. There was never any time that I felt that any one of those characters were in jeopardy, that they were in peril. Not even once, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. You know, and then Superman saving the day and you know, it's up to Superman, whatever. Okay, fine. The mother box thing wasn't that clear to me at the end, like with the, you know, we have to separate them, we have to whatever, and it was never really showing us the real consequences. It wasn't really showing us like what happens and Cyborg's connection to it. Like, they kind of expected us, I guess, to know all this stuff, but you shouldn't expect that. You have to be able to tell the story for your average moviegoer. And it was almost like they're showing us, you know, like, oh, look, there's something shiny. Oh, look, there's something big. Oh, look, you know, look at this CGI effect. Like, it's doom, we're all gonna die. And no real connection, you know, no real connection. Some moments I did like, though. I liked the stuff between Superman and the Flash. I also feel like that was a Joss Whedon scene when, you know, Superman is like all kooky and the Flash is like, you know, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to run in there. And Superman is just as fast as the Flash. Like, that was a really cool shot when Superman turns his head. That was a really, really cool shot. Like, I loved that. I loved it. And then if you stayed after the credits, you see the race. You see, you know, Flash versus Superman racing. Very lighthearted moment that was really cool to me. You know, they've done it in the Flash TV show. I think with Supergirl they did that. But you know, we've seen it before. So that was cool. That was something for the fans, and I really appreciated that. I had fun with the movie. I had fun with it overall. Do I wish it was a better movie? Yes. I wish it was okay. The movie was okay. It wasn't good. It definitely wasn't great, but I did have fun with it. So there's that. It's our first time seeing them on the big screen. So yeah, I don't know. One thing we have hope for is Flashpoint. There's always Flashpoint to fix anything. Bring Flash in, he'll fix the timeline, you know, he'll make everything better. So there's that. That might happen. And they can fix this mess. If we even see a Justice League again, I don't know, will we? They might just go for the standalone films. And what the hell is going on with Ben Affleck? He doesn't want to be Batman anymore. So they're going to have to fix that somehow. So maybe they'll use Flashpoint to fix that. I don't know. But you can't have a Justice League without Batman. So they're going to have to figure out what they're doing with that. Ultimately, I liked Henry Cavill. I like this version of Superman. So if they can keep this tone with him, we could have a really, really great Superman movie on the horizon. So I'm hopeful for that. Love Gal Gadot. Jason Momoa, I don't really have a feel for his Aquaman yet, other than like bro and woo, you know, so I don't really have a feel for his Aquaman yet. Cyborg, I don't really know what they're doing with him. You know, I liked Cyborg, and I've always liked Cyborg. Like, he's never been like, oh my gosh, I need to, you know, see more Cyborg, but I actually liked his portrayal. Just all the CGI was just very, very distracting to me. And I liked Ezra Miller's Flash, so we will see. We will see what happens. We'll see what happens. We are fans. You have to give the fans the characters that they know. and portray them properly. You have to do it. Come on, DC. We're rooting for you. We want these movies. We really want these movies, and we want them done well. You guys have to do better. You guys have to do better. So I'm giving it a 6.5. And, you know, if they make a Justice League 2, of course I will be there. Of course I'll be there at the next superhero movie. Like, I love superheroes. We just want these movies done well. If you liked this Liquid Lowdown, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends, tell your family. Come by and see one of my live shows as well. I do them every week. And yeah, that's it. So I hope to see you guys very soon. Thanks for tuning in to this Liquid Lowdown. And I'm Liquid Lola. I will see you next time. Bye. Liquid.